Hello and welcome to this workshop on optimizing hormone health through nutrition. My name is Roxanne Backer. I am a longevity dietitian and I've been working in the space for about 6 years now. Nutrition is perhaps one of the most influential aspects of our hormone status and overall health. Today we'll be mostly looking at testosterone and how nutrition can impact our testosterone levels and general hormone health. So, a quick agenda. We'll be talking about why hormone health matters, some nutritional factors that influence our testosterone levels, some diet principles, and then I want to end on some actionable tips that you guys can take home and implement in your day-to-day lives. So, a quick introduction. I am, as I said, Roxanne. I'm a registered dietitian based in London. I've been working in nutrition for about 7 years now in a variety of different settings, from personalized startups, such as the ones you can see on the screen, personalized supplements, to also some more clinical working with patients in obesity, diabetes, weight management. And I also run my own clinic where I support individuals who are trying to optimize for specific health outcomes, such as improving body composition or fueling for a specific event, perhaps an allergy, intolerance, that kind of thing. And more recently, I've been supporting those who want to increase their health span and live longer. So, a bit of background. What's the situation? Before we dive in, I want to set the scene. So, in a study back in 2017, Dr. Swan and her team found that sperm counts have been reduced by more than 50% across the Western world in just the last 40 years, which is a lot. And researchers have also observed similar declines in testosterone levels, so it's not just sperm count. This is quite a worrying trend, and it isn't just a Western phenomenon. Other studies have shown sperm count and testosterone declines across South America, Asia, and Africa. And as I said, it's not just the sperm count and the testosterone that's diminishing, but also sperm quality too. So why does hormone health matter so much? Let's take a little look at that. So hormone health is essential for overall well-being as it regulates almost every process in the body. Testosterone is often associated with men's health, but it plays a crucial role in both men and women. In men, it's the primary sex hormone, and it's responsible for lots of different things, as you can see here on the screen. So the first one is definitely muscle growth and strength. It helps with muscle protein synthesis, that generation of new muscle cells, and then also recovery. Energy and mood. Low levels of testosterone are linked to fatigue, depression, irritability. Heart health, that influences red blood cell production and cardiovascular function. Next up, we've got fat metabolism, supports fat loss and maintains a lean body composition. Then we've got bone density, which is essential for strong bones and reducing the risk of osteoporosis. Libido and sexual health, so drives and sexual health, desire and reproductive function is a key one for testosterone levels. And then we've also got cognitive function, which supports memory, concentration, and mental clarity. So all in all, testosterone is really important because it influences all these things within the body. But what about nutrition? So nutrition plays a role in optimizing testosterone levels in the body. We want to strive for a balanced intake of macronutrients, which are the fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, along with sufficient micronutrients, and that's essential for maintaining healthy testosterone levels. You may already know that certain foods are known to support testosterone production, while others may negatively impact it. For example, diets rich in healthy fats, such as those found in eggs, avocados, nuts, seeds, they can promote higher testosterone levels, whereas excessive consumption of processed foods and sugars may contribute to hormone imbalances and lower testosterone production. So a bit more about the macros, the macronutrients. Going vegan, full carnivore, low fat, or being in a calorie deficit can all lower your testosterone. So you now may be wondering, okay, what type of diet is ideal to support testosterone, to boost those testosterone levels? Well, the key message is balance, moderation. Although protein is emphasized in bodybuilding and in fitness communities, its direct impact on testosterone levels is less significant to compare to fats and carbohydrates. So there's research that indicates that a diet excessively high in protein can actually have a negative effect on testosterone production by displacing fats and carbohydrates, which are actually more crucial for hormone synthesis. Okay, while protein, intake is important for muscle repair and growth, it should not overshadow the need for an adequate fat and carbohydrate consumption. So the type is quite important when it comes to protein. Protein source is a major factor in testosterone production, and there was a study done in the British Journal of Nutrition, found that when meat was replaced with soybean protein in healthy men, the ratio of testosterone versus estradiol decreased significantly. So unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, steak beats edamame beans, hands down. So you can see here on the slide, the recommendations, 1 gram to 1.4 grams per kilogram body weight is adequate for optimal testosterone production. Of course, if you are a strength training individual, the recommendations are going to be a bit higher. So when it comes to fat, it's crucial for testosterone production. And again, the source and the quantity significantly influence those hormonal levels. There was a study done at the Institute of Medicine, and they recommend that adults get about 20 to 35% of their daily calories from fats. And this includes saturated and monounsaturated fats, as they've been identified as the strongest predictors of testosterone levels, while high intake of polyunsaturated fats may be associated with lower testosterone levels. So it's a bit interesting, isn't it? Because we've always been told polyunsaturated and unsaturated fats are the most important. When it comes to testosterone, the saturated and the monounsaturated are a little bit more important. Now, what about the ratios? There's a study indicating that reducing fat intake from 40% to 25% of daily calories resulted in a 15% decrease in testosterone levels. So I've concluded that a diet of about 40% calories from fat is a good thing to strive for. It will also depend on other goals that you might have. But including healthy sources of fats such as fatty meats, egg yolks, and dairy products can be beneficial in this case. Onto the carbohydrates. So there is some research that suggests having a diet of 60% carbs over one of 30% carbs resulted in a higher free testosterone to cortisol levels. So it just highlights that carbohydrates play a significant role in testosterone production and overall health. While the simple carbohydrates can lead to rapid sugar spikes. So when we say simple carbohydrates, we mean those that are easily digestible, the ones from cakes, biscuits, sweets, sugar-sweetened beverages. And with lots of rapid sugar spikes in the blood, that will also lower testosterone levels. So we want to focus on complex carbohydrates for the sustained energy, but also for hormone regulation. So foods such as starchy vegetables should be prioritized, around the workouts when quick energy replacement is needed, but things opting for whole grain rice, wholemeal bread, whole wheat pastas, and then other whole grains such as oats, quinoa, spelt, buckwheat, those should be focused on. So what about the macros? So there are a few micronutrients that I've highlighted that are really important for testosterone levels. You can see on the slide, vitamin A, that is a powerful antioxidant, has been positively correlated with testosterone levels. Vitamin A can be found in mainly plant-based, mainly animal-based products. Liver is a really good source of vitamin A. Vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant as well. It protects the testes from oxidative stress, thereby preserving those testosterone levels. Vitamin D, also known as a sunshine vitamin, they have that vitamin is researched around the strengthening of bones and improving our mood, but also in the context of male fertility. Vitamin D receptors can actually be found in sperm cells, and that's why we think that vitamin D may play a role in the production of certain steroid hormones, which influence our testosterone levels. And unfortunately, vitamin D is quite common vitamin D deficiency is quite common among people who are not exposed to the sun or who have very limited sunlight. In the northern hemisphere, the UVB, the rays of the sun, are quite weak, so there is a recommendation to supplement. Vitamin E is another one, as another antioxidant. There's a few studies on this, so men supplementing with vitamin E have been shown to have higher testosterone levels. Magnesium is a critical mineral, has many different roles in the body, over 300 reactions use with magnesium, and that's been shown to have a direct positive relationship with testosterone. So also one to consider supplementing. And then, foods high in magnesium include things like leafy greens, nuts, seeds, whole grains. And zinc. I think zinc is one that you may already be familiar with. It's a crucial micronutrient that really significantly influences testosterone production. It serves as a cofactor for numerous enzymes involved in biological processes, including protein synthesis and DNA replication. And a deficiency in zinc can be associated with lower testosterone levels. Zinc can be found in things like oysters, red meat, poultry, beans, nuts. It can help support testosterone levels if they're not optimal. I have to say though, if your zinc levels are optimal, then supplementing with more isn't going to help your testosterone levels, based on the current research. So some 4 diet principles to stick to in regards to supporting those testosterone levels, and I want to say naturally supporting those testosterone levels. So the first one is shifting the main fat sources to saturated and monounsaturated fats. So including things like macadamia oil, extra virgin olive oil, Brazil nuts, avocados, beef, chicken. Those are all excellent sources of saturated and monounsaturated fats. The saturated fat foods tend to be rich in most critical fat soluble vitamins for testosterone synthesis, so vitamin K2, which I actually didn't add on the previous slide, and vitamin A. So those two are very, very critical. And as I said, the monounsaturated fats such as olive oil appear to have a strong stimulatory effect on testosterone output in men. Incorporate low GI carbohydrates. So GI stands for glycemic index, and a low GI basically means how quickly your body will absorb the food, the carbohydrate, and how quickly it will cause a blood sugar spike. So high GI foods are those that spike the blood sugar quickly and immediately. So you can think of things like white sugar, that's got a really high GI rating index, and white bread as well. So opting for things like brown rice, sweet potatoes, buckwheat can really reduce those spikes and reduce the progression of insulin resistance. Because there have been quite a lot of studies between the association of low testosterone levels and insulin resistant states. Then we've got organ meats. This is maybe a bit more out there, but organ meats like liver, kidney, heart, spleen, thymus, testes. Beef kidney is rich in selenium, another micronutrient that's very beneficial for testosterone levels, because it actually plays a role in the antioxidant defense mechanisms, and it modulates those. And then the 4th diet principle is consume nitrate-rich vegetables, such as beetroot, arugula, spinach. These nitrate-rich foods are excellent for increasing blood flow and circulation, because they help the body to increase its levels of nitric oxide, which can help with erection quality as well. So erectile dysfunction has a strong association in the literature with nitric oxide. Then we've got some specific foods for testosterone levels, which I think are worth highlighting. Got a little crown there because I think these are like the king foods for testosterone. So avocados, the Aztecs actually named the avocado tree. I can't pronounce it, but it means testicle tree. So implying that the fruit hanging in pairs on the tree is similar to male testicles. But anyways, avocados are smooth, high in mineral content, contain the body's master antioxidant glutathione, as well as like a host of different heart-friendly, monounsaturated oils, and they've got lots of fiber, potassium, and B6. We've got the dark green leafy vegetables. They're rich in nitric oxide for the blood flow and the circulation, as I just mentioned. Dark berries are really rich in flavonoids, which can shown to reduce the incidence of erectile dysfunction. I've skipped over pomegranate. Sorry, pomegranate and pomegranate juice. There's been a study that showed that by enhancing the intake of pomegranate, it actually also increases salivary testosterone levels and improves mood and well-being in both healthy men and women. So if you're not adding pomegranate to your diet, I'd highly recommend that. Next up, we've got red onions. There's some evidence of that onions actually enhance testosterone levels in males. The mechanism which this occurs is mainly by increasing the production of LH, which is a type of hormone that also helps with the antioxidant defense mechanism. So yeah, and then we've got Brazil nuts, rich in selenium, arginine, both of which are important for sexual health. As I touched on, selenium already aids sperm quality, and arginine has an impact on nitric oxide levels. And then the last one is raw cacao or dark chocolate, which again is rich in flavonols like the dark berries and the dark green leafy vegetables. And studies have shown that they demonstrate to be efficient in improving endothelial function and decreasing blood pressure in both humans and animals. So a few more slides to touch on. The first is about body composition and testosterone. So how many calories should we be eating? So the body needs enough calories to produce adequate amounts of testosterone. Like with a constant and prolonged calorie restriction, the body kind of enters a survival mode, which means that the reproductive system is not of great importance, and your body simply wants to survive rather than reproduce, which we can understand. So the body instead conserves energy for vital processes and internal organs. And so for that optimal testosterone production and fertility, we should be eating at energy maintenance or a slight calorie surplus. Again, this will very much depend on physical activity, but finding out your calorie requirement, your basal metabolic rate, is a really good starting point. There are a lot of equations online that you can use, or if you're familiar with calorie tracking apps, they will also give you that number. So there's been some research that's saying that like a minor calorie deficit and losing weight can actually elevate testosterone production, but that would have to happen slowly, losing that weight slowly. So yeah, not more than 15% daily calorie deficit, because I know that a lot of people are interested in that kind of longevity, and that's where calorie restriction definitely plays a role. There's a lot of science behind reducing the amount of calories and living longer. But for testosterone, it's one to be mindful of. What about hydration? I want to touch on this because even a mild dehydration, so that's like 1 to 2% body weight loss, can actually raise cortisol levels, and cortisol levels can affect testosterone production. And then, yeah, in addition, the more dehydrated you are, the more cortisol and adrenaline will rise, and then the more testosterone drops. So something, again, to be mindful of. A lot of, this goes with a lot of the principles of having a healthy, balanced diet and lifestyle. Hydration plays a role in that too. In summary, so I've not really touched on anything lifestyle related, but I thought for my last slide I would like to do that. So we've got stress management. I mentioned cortisol before with the hydration. So controlling stress levels through meditation, through breathing, will modulate those cortisol levels, which will then make sure that it's not impacting your testosterone levels. Sleep is an important one. So the majority of the daily testosterone release in men occurs during sleep. So kind of having fragmented, broken sleep or having obstructive sleep apnea are associated with reduced testosterone levels. So that's one to also look at. How can you optimize sleep? How can you kind of biohack your sleep to make sure that you're hitting the 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep that are required? Then we've got weight management. So, while practicing getting rid of extra belly fat and staying lean, I think the weight management and physical activity are linked. So, practicing strength training and gaining muscle often reduces body fat percentage, which leads to higher testosterone levels. It also has an independent effect on elevating testosterone. So having a higher muscle mass is positively correlated with higher testosterone. Lastly, balanced diet. So we've talked a lot about what foods we should be eating and the diet principles, but ensuring that you're having nutrient-dense whole foods and that you're eating enough, but not too many calories, is critical for hormone health and testosterone. And I just want to finish with probably my favorite quote from a book that I've been reading by Dr. Shanna Swan. And the key to eating healthy is avoiding any food that has a TV commercial. I know this is quite a blanket statement, but there's often so much information online, a lot of misinformation. We're not sure where to turn. Hopefully this has helped a little bit, but do let me know if there are any questions, and if anyone would like to book a consultation with me, I'd be very happy to support them further. I've got a couple of references here as well.